when the war started in 2 months ago, I can't remember, I think so many things happen now, then two things really happened. Is one, the bombs start falling. I live in the north, but I work in Tel Aviv, and I came into Tel Aviv, and that night there were 7 alarms, 140 rockets falling. We stayed in the shelters. All the neighbors came with us to stay in the shelter. And my daughter freaked out. She's 12 years old. She never experienced something like that. And where I live in the north, there is an Arab village, a big Arab village. There are neighbors. We make our groceries and everything there. And they were on riots, and the whole thing was a mess. And I felt I just needed to do something. And I came to a point where I understood deeply what Zhineng Qigong could do. And from that, it started.
What happened after that? So you started with your first healing project, and then from there, you're now doing the Healing the World initiative. If you don't mind telling me what that's all about, and perhaps also when things are happening, when it's starting.
Okay, so it was during the war. After a week of the war, I just had this idea that I really wanted to do a healing session for the village next to my house, and for all the Arab villages that are, and for Israel and the Arab Israelis. And then I asked first one teacher if he could do a healing session, and then I had the idea, why not just really make something and involve, because it wasn't only really the war, it was also, we have a lot of teachers teaching here in Israel, and many Israeli teachers that are organizing them. And there was a lot of competition and ego and things going on. And I really felt that first we need to do a peace within ourselves. So I thought to call everyone, not just me doing something, but all the Israeli organizers together, and to give each one a stage. And so I contact every one of them, even people that were tough for me to communicate with, and they all agreed immediately. And then I asked Orit, because she has all the knowledge to do it. I have the idea, but without Orit, it would not happen. And she always helps everyone anyway, without money, volunteering. That's her thing, she's just this angel. And then we thought just to have it with Arabic and Hebrew translation and invite Arabs and Jews. But then all the translators from our community, they just offered to come and volunteer. And it was so touching, and we were so excited to get the support from the world community. And in 2 days, we thought about it. We said the first session will be after 4 days. After 2 days, they said, we're joining. And in 1 day, they all translated all the advertising to their languages. We made a sheet, a Google sheet. I told them who wants to translate. And we wanted to give everyone a chance. So every teacher came with his translating team. So there were many translators, many organizers. And it was just made by itself, and everyone was so supportive and so loving, and the teachers were amazing. So we just asked all the 11 teachers that work with Israel to each give one healing session. They all volunteered. They did amazing stuff. And during that time, people from other countries in the world called us. Hi, I'm from Colombia. We need healing also. Can you do something for us as well? So then we decided that to do another round, and this is that round that is happening now, for the healing of the world. And each continent is hosting a session.
So my name is Orit Shelly. I'm from Israel. I'm practicing Zhineng Qigong for about 6 years. I got to it from saw some promotion on the internet, and it sounds interesting. So I went to a workshop with teacher Shefeng. In the end of the workshop, he gave me a hug, and I felt like electricity in all my body. At that minute, I decided I'm going after him to Greece. So I went to another workshop without knowing anything about the Zhineng Qigong before. And since then, I went after him for several places as I get to know other teachers. I made a 2 teachers course. I don't teach, but I'm working with Zhineng Qigong and practice myself. And last year, in the beginning of the Corona, I was asking the teacher if he's going to do something, because I wanted to practice with him, and we were all in lockdown. And he said, do you want, we will do something together? Let's do 3 times a week, 3 sessions for the healing of everybody. So that was the first time I get to know the Zoom, because I had to learn it for this project, and we did it for some months. And then I continued with him to other things. And then when we had the war in Israel lately, and Ronit was suggesting that we will do something together. So I felt it's perfect thing, and it's give a good feeling, and the option to help people and use the Zhineng Qigong, not only to myself.
So I'm Ronit Adar, and I also started the Zhineng Qigong 6 years ago. Before that, I was teaching Tai Chi for 25 years. And then I got really challenged with a severe rheumatoid arthritis. And I was, in a few months, I was bedridden, in pain for months, 24 hours, not being able to move. I'm a Tai Chi teacher, I'm a craniosacral therapist. I'm like the queen of movement, and I couldn't move. I just could not move. And a friend suggested I will try Qigong. And I met Qigong first time with Master Ming Tongu. He used to come to Israel. And as soon as the first day I met him, I knew if I ever heal myself, it will be with Zhineng Qigong. I tried everything, every alternative medicine, diet, bee stings, regular medicine, biological medicine, nothing helped for 2 years. And it took me time, but Zhineng Qigong really healed me, a very deep healing. And before it healed me, I was really hooked, and I really understood it's something different. And I've been to China in 1994. I was teaching Tai Chi. I was treating shiatsu. You know, I was a Chinese therapist also before the craniosacral therapist. But I never came across someone who understood in healing and in a change in the consciousness like Zhineng Qigong. So I went to China for the healing 6 times in the last 3 years, each time for a month and 1 time for 3 months. So I really practiced deep. I did 2 teacher trainings, and I teach in Israel. And 2 years ago, just before the coronavirus started, we hosted in Israel 2 teachers from the Xi'an Center. And it was a very deep retreat.
Would you mind, Orit, telling me a bit about how you came to join in all of this?
I had the same feelings, and I was talking with teacher Shi even before she applied to me, because it felt we cannot do anything, and the Zhineng Qigong gives hope. And then when she was connecting me, and we worked together before, we did some things before. So I said, I agreed immediately, and I moved on my schedule and tried to do the things we needed to do. And it was very special, and all the teachers in Israel that I know most of them, and working together, it was really strong experience. And I know most of the teachers because they are the teachers that come to Israel. And I met Ronit in Xi'an. We are from Israel, but our first account was in Xi'an. So we know the same teachers. And for the second project, it was like we're going together. It happened by himself. Some teacher applied to us. They say they also want to help us. Other people from other countries say they want also share session for their country. And I think we really want to give back. We feel so much love and such a huge hug from all the world. It was amazing. One day I was depressed, and the other day I was so hopeful. And all the teachers, how can we help you? And we want to translate. I will organize my country. I'll do this one. And so much love. So it feels only natural that we want to give back to the world, not 11 sessions for the Middle East, but we want to give back. So we decided to take the teachers that we know, the other teachers and teachers that apply to us, and to do something for the world, not only for us.
Can you guys tell me a bit more about who can join the initiative and who they need to contact, how they can take part in it?
Yeah, so first of all, everyone is invited, whoever wants to. And we were very surprised because, I mean, in Israel, it wasn't that surprising because people were so desperate. And they heard about this initiative, and if they understood the power of the healing, so they joined. Many people that didn't practice Zhineng Qigong joined, and the teachers took it into consideration, and they make such a healing session that basically everyone is welcome. We were very, very happy to have last time people from Tunisia, people from Turkey, Arabs from Israel, because they know less about Zhineng Qigong, but they do. There's a group in Morocco, and really, I just want to say, it's not your question, but it really helped make connections with some Arab people in Israel. Now I have in my contact, phone and list and email, Arab names, which I didn't have before. So it really went down into earth, it really created a beginning of a very beautiful thing. And I just want to add that in Israel in general, this war created a very strong movement of joining together of Arabs and Jews. It's not because of the healing session, but I'm sure the healing session contributed, and it really worked. And so basically anyone can join. We have a link that we send where we have an advertisement before each journey, and we'll send you all the materials. And there's also a link. We download all the recordings to YouTube, and we opened a YouTube channel which is called Zhineng Qigong World Healing, ZEDQG World Healing. And all the recordings of all the sessions in all the languages are there.
I wanted to say something else, but about the circles it makes, because there is the main thing, purpose we did it, but in the way many things happened, like translations from one country. Translations are usually teachers, started to work together. Before, everyone was working, most of them was working with a special teacher, and all of a sudden they become organized together because they wanted to help the project. So now it makes connection between them. It makes opportunity to people that don't know Zhineng Qigong to join us, because we ask the teachers to do it in a way that suits everybody. And today, I got a letter from someone, I didn't even have a chance to tell you on it yet, that she said she was in all the sessions of the previous one and now, and she never practiced in her life. And she don't miss even one session. It makes us feels so good and so strong that, and she will continue, but she never heard about it before. So I think there are many circles that's around it, good circles, circles of love, of working together, and it's bigger than its parts, let's say.
Yeah.
It's much, we are doing it, but it's much bigger than its parts. It's something that goes for itself.
Yeah, I also have the same feeling that it's not really us. Somebody needed to give the push, and then it's all back, you know, the really essence of Zhineng Qigong, that when you're, you know, when there is, it's really an entirety. It's really, I feel, an entirety. Never I saw all these 11 teachers together in a project, all of them, you know, they're so, usually they work on their own, and we, the organizers in Israel, work on our own, and the translators, and suddenly it made such a big unifying of the Zhineng Qigong world community and supporting each other. And so many, really many things happened. And for me, the main, I really understood the, you know, one of the teachers used to tell us that the most difficult place to make peace and healing is in your family, you know, with your spouse and with your children. And I felt it, that it was successful because we managed to put aside our egos and our competition and really join together, even if it's for a moment. And for me as an organizer, I had to really hold and to really open more and more my reference framework, because people came with all things, you know, and great ideas, which in my past I used to say, no, that's not good. You have to do it like this. You have to do it. And just saying yes to everything and really learning from everyone is a big learning experience for me.
Would you mind actually sharing with me a bit more about the healing you were talking about? If there are specific situations that resonate with you, you spoke a bit about within your community, what you witnessed. Is there something that you'd like to share regarding that?
First of all, for the Middle East healing that we did, it was a very special time, because I think in Israel, this conflict between the Arabs and the Jews came to a climax, and it could not go anymore. And also, I think in the general energy of the world after the COVID and in this time of Facebook, that, you know, people send lots of information, and it's easy to say mean things and bad things, and you just release them. So I think that came to a climax and became a war in Israel, because Israel has a extra tension to the regular tension. And just in the days, first of all, 2 days after the healing started, the war, the ceasefire was declared. It was being planned before. I don't think it was because the healing sessions, but I think the energy made a difference. And in the last day of the 11 healing sessions, for the first time after 3 or 4 elections, we had a government, and for the first time ever, an Arab party is part of the government. And that was in the last healing session, in the day of the last healing session. And again, there is just the understanding that you cannot, it doesn't work to go on hating each other and having strong opinions and being against. It leads to chaos, it leads to war, it leads to bloodshed. And I think people are starting to really understand its seeds. I know I'm not, you know, I'm not, I don't have an illusion that it will be tomorrow, but it will take time. But definitely the seeds are planted. And I think in the world as well. I mean, I don't live in other places, but I feel that if I watch the Zhineng Qigong community and I see it growing in these 6 years, many teachers, or local teachers, are getting to a higher level and organizing more and more communities, and it's growing. And to think of Dr. Pang thinking about it 30 and 20 years ago when he started, it's just, You know, it's amazing, but it's happening. I feel I never had a hope for Israel. I always said, okay, I'll go and live somewhere else. But now I have so much energy, and these teachers, they taught me how to do it. They really took my hand, and I crossed the bridge from no hope or thinking it cannot happen. And now I'm sure peace can come. And I think Israel will be a place from where it will spread, because it's that challenging here. And many other places, I feel also there's a lot of good things arising, but it will still take time and long practice.
I have goosebumps just listening to you talk, because I cannot even begin to imagine what you must have gone through. The experience you spoke about, your 12-year-old daughter, her first time experiencing that. I literally, it is something I can't even comprehend. Can I ask you why you think Zhineng Qigong has been so good in facilitating that healing process? Zhineng Qigong specifically.
I think that the basic of Zhineng Qigong, we don't have to adjust it, because Zhineng Qigong is talking about healing, personal healing, global healing. I think the foundation of Zhineng Qigong suited immediately. We didn't have to do much effort. I know, for example, when I was in Xi'an, that the teachers going to places with bad water, and they try to make them better. It's something you hear all the time. Sometimes it's for people, sometimes it's for bigger things, but it's go naturally. I don't think it's even a question for me, because that's what the teacher is talking about. Of course, they're all human, and I know that even between the teachers, sometimes there are disagreements or some competition or something like that. But behind all of it, this is the basic of the Zhineng Qigong. I think even the thing of chi field, it's not one person together. As much as more people join together, it's getting stronger, and you get the chi from all the world and from all the people. So I think the basic of the Zhineng Qigong today, I explained to someone what I think is the difference between Qigong and Zhineng Qigong, for example, because she was asking me what's the difference. So I told her that one of the basic things is the chi field. It's the working together, is using the chi of other people too, other practitioners, other teachers. And I think if that's the basic, what's more suited for healing?
Yeah, and also, I think the understanding of what healing demands, or what is healing, is actually what makes the healing, you know. The fact that the world doesn't have to, it's not the world that has to change. It's us perceiving the world that makes the world change. It's the fact, you know, I could now, you know, lead things of, you know, I can talk to Arabs and Israel and Jews and do things, because I can really get out of my old reference framework, my old education, judgment, you know, political ideas, everything that used to define me. This false self that Zhineng Qigong wants to liberate us from. It wants to take us to our true self. And in our true self, we are really all one. It's not a you know, a slogan. And because we are all chi, and we are the same, and we are interconnected. And the understanding of that is our real practice. And this era, you know, the information is going both ways, but the information now is going so quick and so much that things can change, you know, the transformation can happen so much. And that this thing of Zhineng Qigong telling us or teaching us always to see the positive, even if someone hurt you. For me to be able to do that, it took 6 years. After practicing 3 hours, 4 hours a day for months, I got some improvement in my own challenge, physical challenge of the arthritis. I understood it's not going to happen if I don't change my mind, if I don't change my reference framework. And now that I can open it much more without all my judgments and all my ideas of what is right and what is truth and how the world should be and how everyone should be and who I like and who I don't like, when all this opened up a little bit, there's so much energy that I don't waste anymore, that I can use it doing good things for the world and to myself. And it's so beautiful because the moment you tap into your true self, it works on its own. And whatever you do good to yourself is always good for others. It's not a competition. There's no more competition. The competition or the war or the disagreements is only there when you don't realize who you are. And Zhineng Qigongs help us to know and be who we are. And who we are just beautiful, amazing, wonderful human beings with this amazing awareness that can change the world just by thoughts. Everyone that is fighting and hating each other, we're all the same. And this is so precious of Zhineng Qigong to teach us that. And to teach us that not only in theory, but to stand up and practice it and understand it through the conscious meeting the pain in the body. When we stand and we hold our hands in pushing mountains, the pain we meet is thoughts that are trapped in the body. It's judgments and control and criticism and fear and anger that is trapped in the body from holding all these judgments and all this reference framework. All this project was with no money. I mean, we had a little bit of expenses for the Zoom room, enlarging it, and it's nothing. Everything is with no money. And that for me was also really amazing. And people tell me, wow, you work so hard and nights and days. It was a lot of work to do. But I gained so much. And even money comes from that, from, not direct things, yeah? And I think the world is going through a transformation also in money-wise. I think the old ways are out, and the new Zhineng Qigong culture that Dr. Pang meant for us to have by practicing Qigong is really kicking in. It's the seeds, it's the beginning, it will take time. But to see that this thing can happen with no money in it, nothing. And that you gain so much, and everyone can gain. Nobody loses, everyone gains. So that's for me was also a very big thing to experience and to see that it can work.
Could you talk me through what these workshops look like? You are probably doing them online, and you obviously have different teachers facilitating and such. What is, of course, the intention is healing, but what do the methods behind it look like? The type of exercises and that sort of thing.
We try not to ask them too much, because every teacher has his style and what wants to do. But to many, we told them to do something that is not too complicated, that it's good for people that know Zhineng Qigong and for people that don't know Zhineng Qigong, to do it without too much movement, so all the kind of people can join. For example, people that have physical problems, people without physical problems, because as you probably know, there are very hard exercises and very easy exercises, and we ask them to do, especially healing that without too much movement. So we can suit as much people as possible. We ask them to talk slowly because of the translators, but we try yet not to teach too much because people want to feel it. But every teacher has a special way. So one teacher did a word healing, and the other teacher does the physical healing. That's going from part to part and give it shape. Another teacher do the things with the sound healing. One other teacher tried to teach something and did it from the Zhineng Center with a group of people behind her, and she was giving a little bit exercises about how to do things. So we give every teacher his own way, but we do tell them not hard exercise and not to teach too much because it's an experience. It's healing and it's an experience. So, but it's different from one teacher to another.
It's funny, I never told any of the teachers what to do. I just told them we need healing for the world and that's it. So I never knew you told them what to do.
No, if they were sharing with me. So if I say that they do some things that I think it's less better for the people, so I tell them not to do level 1, for example, because it's very specific or not there.
Basically, it's a healing session, and healing session in Zhineng Qigong usually involves maybe lachi, open close, or healing going part by part of the body. Some, as Orit said, like really sent information, beautiful information to the world or to the Middle East. And some took it more to a personal healing because it's in Zhineng Qigong, you say, if you heal someone else, you're healed yourself. If you heal yourself. So I think the teachers, they sense, even through the Zoom, they sense the audience and they do whatever comes or whatever they tend to do. But it's basically a healing session, mainly sitting down and lachi and a bit of talking and that.
Our last question actually would be, you spoke, Ronit, about how in today's age with the technology that we have so much information happening and being transferred so rapidly. How have you experienced this whole healing initiative taking place mostly online?
For me, the all last year and a half, I think it's a challenge for all the Zhineng Qigong, how to move from live workshops to online workshops. So the healing part was just a continuation, because we have to learn new technology. We have to see how to get to people, what works and what's not working. And the healing session are just, it was normal because all the last year, almost everything is online. So we learned a lot during that year. I can say that from the beginning that what to do, how to do it, how can people arrange to do it. And we have a lot of information now. So we can use all the information we get all this time for the healing sessions.
Yeah, and again, it's like, for me, it was I didn't like sitting in front of the computer until the COVID. I really had resistance towards it, and I knew nothing except for sending an email. And to do these online sessions, I had to learn a lot. And to do this project, I needed Orit because I couldn't do it. She knows a lot about the technology of it. And again, it was very interesting because there is one part that is really healing about doing it on Zoom, because I used to go to China for retreats, and it used to be very difficult to come back home because the chi field there was so loving and so healing. And in my house, to create such a healing chi field, it was so difficult. And always I was getting worse when I came back. I was so better when I was there, and it was hard for me to keep it. And these 2 years of COVID, they forced me to create a chi field with the help of the teacher in the Zoom in my house. And they were talking a lot at the beginning of bring the chi field to your house, put all your, family members in it, bring it to your bedroom, to your living room. And so it has actually a lot of advantage in that. And also being together, there's sometimes now that I don't even remember I'm on Zoom when I'm sitting down and I'm practicing and meditating. It just feels, as if we're all really together. And that's another thing of the Zhineng Qigong teaches you. You're not limited. If the chi field is not good enough in a place, you make it good. And even though it's always better to be alive, with people, but there's something really, but this could never happen. All the best teachers are in our Zoom. Every day there's another amazing course or free session. And that would never happen without the COVID and the Zoom. And coming together, the whole world, that would never happen if we didn't have the Zoom. So the Zhineng Qigong is really, how do you say it? You really insist, you see the best in everything. And, I'm kind of starting it catches, I see these teachers, when I ask them something, and isn't it hard to live in China with it's not a democracy, they never say a bad word about anything. And this is not because they're nice, because it affects their energy, it heals them. It's worth doing it. It's not for being nice or being spiritual. It works. So the Zoom has many advantages, even though I'm happy to meet people on live.
But without the Zoom, we couldn't do it. All the world together at both at the same time. It couldn't have happened if not the Zoom.
Yes, that's exactly, this is such a good example about perspective and how you choose to see things as you have found, through Zhineng Qigong, because many people could say, now I'm isolated and I'm alone and there's no hope, but look at, just look at the network and the community you have just in this one initiative. It's amazing. And people can now meet with teachers and practitioners from right around the world and be encouraged to do so, and maybe just go a bit outside of their comfort zone, expand their chi field so much bigger than they ever would have been comfortable or encouraged to do, just because of the situation. So that's very powerful.
Without the Zoom, we wouldn't have met you, and many other people. So, and I really think there's one teacher who talks about that. He's really good about talking about information in this time, teacher Jianche. And with his help, I really realized that this Zoom is actually a way of information passing really fast and really, and the speed is enabling the change to be faster. The transformation now, if I used to think that if peace started in Israel, it will take generations and 100 years, now in the speed things are happening, the healing can happen faster because of the Zoom and the internet. Of course, you need to choose what you say in the internet and how you use it. But if you use it for healing, then the healing will be accelerated.
So, of course, initially your idea, Roni, was to heal the conflict in the Middle East. And it was within your community. Now that it's branched out to healing the world, what would you say is like the specific intention there? Would you say it's like an umbrella for all healing to take place? Is there a specific intention perhaps to heal people from all the toxicity and negativity that has come associated with the coronavirus? How do you guys perceive that?
I can start. In the beginning of every session, we forgot to say it, someone from the area is speaking and is giving the attention to one or 2 points that he wanted to heal. For example, when someone from Asia was talking, she was mainly talking about the COVID virus. From Australia, she was talking about the isolation and wanted to be a part. They say more things, but that was, I think, was the main thing. So we give a chance for someone from the place to give the intention to the meeting, and then it's go on by itself. But for me, it doesn't have to be for me too. The first thing was to give back to the world, like they give us, and to make people feel good and feel together. And of course to heal, but not only, because people was asking for it, as I felt that we did a session for ourselves, and I really want every place, it's not the same, it's not the same meetings, but to give back. Because I got so much love and I wanted to give back. That was the first intention. Then came all the other things people applied to us. Someone was saying there's violence in our place. Someone was talking about COVID. And then we decided to give a chance to a person from each continent to say something. Usually it's someone from the community, someone that is teaching Zhineng Qigong or something like that.
So, yeah, for me, when the first person from Colombia called and asked for help for Colombia because he said his country is a mess and with violence and disease and stuff, and he asked to put Colombia in the Chi field, then I really realized that we're all facing, you know, even though it's different, similar problems. The style is different, and the, you know, how do you say it? The main points might be a bit different, but it's really similar. So I think, again, for me, first I said, okay, now all the Israeli organizers were on stage. I wanted to give a stage to the world organizers. So we have 2 hosts. One is blessing the land of that continent that he's presenting, and one is presenting the teacher that is going to give the session. And the person who is presenting the land, he really feels what his land needs. Like for Australia, the isolation and also the climate problem in Australia is very big, in New Zealand. And in Asia, she said that the COVID really brought back the need to take care of family, the words in English are running away from me, family values. And so society is reorganizing in China in a very deep way. And so it's violence in South America, it's health issues in North America. Of course, everywhere is everything, but all the big issues of the world are coming up in this project. They're all getting attention. And basically, I think it's the lack of awareness that is bringing societies and individuals to get off the main road, you know. And so a lot is about communication, is coming back to a positive, caring, honoring each other, and taking care of the planet in many ways. So for me, each continent brings another point that we all need everywhere.
I think as well, it's just so necessary, just the whole intention, because we all face similar struggles. Just when you were mentioning now with the climate change, I mean, that doesn't affect specific parts, specific countries. It's everywhere. And even though I know the conflict in the Middle East is you know, undeniable and quite violent. I mean, there is conflict in every single country, whether it be smaller conflicts or more spread out, or not at such an inflammatory stage. it is there. So it's so important, and that's just the beauty of this whole project, is expanding that the potential for healing in the community to everyone. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I don't have any other specific questions, but of course I'd love to hear if there's anything else you have to share with me, anything else you'd like to discuss.
Yeah, maybe just to say two more things. One is, I feel that, for example, in Africa, the things between the whites and the blacks, and Black Lives Matter in America is not smaller than the conflict between the Arabs and the Jews here. It's just more on the news. But I think in a very, very deep way, society, Zhineng Qigong tells us that healing is healing of myself and society, myself and nature, and myself within, with my body, heart, and mind. And without these three aspects, it's not a complete healing. If one of the aspects are not there, it's not complete. So it's not just healing my joints and inflammation. It's healing my relationship with society, and it's healing my relationship with the nature, with the planet. And it's for all of us. And in that sense, there's no big and small. And because we're so interconnected through the internet and the screens, the problems are merging, and the healing is merging, all of us. So I really feel that when every one of these hosts talk about different places of the world, I can totally identify. And it's just a moment that we tap into one of these three, either society, the planet, or health issues. And I really, really, really want to thank you for this beautiful initiative of asking us to talk. And yeah, it's very touching. I was very touched, and it was an honor.
Honor is all mine. Honestly, I feel like I could just hug you both. You've had me crying. You've had me like a roller coaster of emotions. I can absolutely see why you have put this amazing project together. So yeah, thank you guys.